I trusted my husband of 23 years more than anyone, until the night I drove past my best friend's house, the one who lives just 3 doors down, and saw his car sitting in her driveway. He told me he was working late, again, but that car was supposed to be at the office. In that single moment, my entire 23-year marriage and my closest friendship both shattered. What I discovered next was worse than any affair I could have imagined. Have you ever had a moment where everything you thought was true just wasn't? Because what I saw that night, my husband's car in her driveway, that was just the beginning. What I found when I looked at our bank account 3 days later made me physically sick. What I discovered about my best friend 6 weeks later made me question if I'd ever really known her at all. And what came out in the courtroom 8 months later shocked everyone in our small town. My marriage ended. My friendship died. My children had to choose sides. I lost friends. I lost money. I lost the version of myself that trusted people, but I gained something too, something I never knew I had. This isn't just a story about an affair. It's about a woman who spent 8 years befriending me, earning my trust, learning everything about my life, my marriage, my finances, all while planning to take it apart piece by piece. By the time I uncovered the truth, she'd taken nearly $100,000. My husband had been lying to me for over a year, and my own son had been keeping their secret for 6 months. I know some of you watching this have felt this kind of betrayal. That gut punch moment when you realize the person sleeping next to you, the person you built a life with, is a stranger, or worse, that the friend you told everything to was never really your friend at all. I'm going to tell you everything. Every detail, every lie, every painful discovery. How I caught them. How I confronted them. How I fought back. And how I finally got justice. But I need to take you back to the beginning. To who I was before that November night. Because the woman I am now, she's someone I never thought I'd have to become. And honestly, I'm proud of her. My name is Susan. I'm 52 years old, and for most of my adult life, I thought I had it all figured out. A stable marriage, a beautiful home, 2 amazing kids, a best friend I could count on. I thought I was one of the lucky ones. I was wrong. But let me tell you about the life I had before I knew I was wrong, because you need to understand what I lost, to understand why I fought so hard to get it back. Michael and I met when I was 28. He was 30. It wasn't love at first sight or anything dramatic. We met at a company barbecue. He made me laugh. He was steady, reliable, kind. We dated for 2 years, got married, bought a house in the suburbs. It was normal, in the best way. We weren't one of those couples that posted lovey-dovey things on Facebook. We were just solid, or at least I thought we were. 23 years. That's a long time to build a life with someone. Long enough to stop questioning things. Long enough to feel safe. We have 2 kids, Sarah and Josh. Sarah's 21 now, finishing up college 3 states away. She's studying education, wants to be a teacher. I'm so proud of her. Josh just turned 18, senior in high school when all of this happened, still living at home. I'd stayed home with them when they were little, left my marketing career to raise them. Michael and I agreed it made sense financially. His job as an operations manager paid well enough. I didn't mind. I loved being their mom. I loved our life. But looking back now, I gave up my career, my financial independence, my safety net. I trusted Michael to take care of us, to be honest with me, to protect what we were building together. We've lived in the same house for 17 years, a 4-bedroom colonial with yellow shutters and a garden I'm proud of. The kind of neighborhood where everyone knows everyone. Block parties in the summer, Christmas lights in December. Safe, quiet, boring maybe, but I liked boring. 3 doors down, there's a light blue house with white trim. That's where Linda lived, Linda Morrison. For 8 years, she was my best friend. My closest friend, really. She moved in about a year after her divorce, showed up with a moving truck and not much else. Her ex-husband had left her with almost nothing, she said. I baked her a casserole that first week, introduced myself. She seemed so grateful, so lost. We clicked immediately. Linda and I did everything together. Morning walks, book club, shopping trips, girls' weekends when we could afford them. When she cried about her divorce, about feeling alone, about money troubles, I was there. Every single time. I lent her money once. $500 to fix her car. She paid me back within a month. Michael used to joke that I spent more time with Linda than with him, and maybe I did. She felt like the sister I never had. I told her things I didn't tell anyone else, about my marriage, about the kids, about money worries, about my fears. I trusted her completely, and she seemed to trust me too. She'd come over for coffee and we'd sit at my kitchen table for hours just talking. She met Michael dozens of times, barbecues, dinner parties, casual hellos in the driveway. They were friendly, polite, normal. I never saw anything, not a look, not a moment, nothing. But here's the thing. When I look back now, there were small moments, tiny things I explained away. Like the time Linda asked me detailed questions about our finances, how much Michael made, what our retirement looked like, if we had savings. I thought she was just trying to get her own financial life together, comparing, planning. Or the time Michael came home late and smelled like perfume. Not my perfume, something floral. Client dinner, he said. Sat next to the rep from the vendor. She was wearing too much. I believed him. Or the time I came home early and caught Michael on the phone in the garage. He hung up the second he saw me. Just work drama, he said. I nodded, went inside, made dinner. I was so good at not seeing things I didn't want to see. By the fall of that year, the year everything fell apart, I remember feeling really grateful. Grateful for my marriage, for my kids, for Linda's friendship. I felt secure. That's the word I keep coming back to. Secure. I thought I knew exactly who I was. A wife, a mother, a friend. I thought I knew my husband, my best friend, my life. Security is a funny thing, though. Sometimes it's real, and sometimes it's just ignorance dressed up to look like peace. The first crack appeared in September, and I almost missed it. It started with late nights. Michael began working late every Tuesday and Thursday, sometimes Wednesdays too. Big project at work, he explained, restructuring the entire operations department. It's temporary. I didn't question it. Why would I? In 23 years of marriage, Michael had never lied to me, at least not that I knew of, but the late nights stretched on, week after week, September, October. He'd text me around 5:30, going to be late tonight, don't wait on dinner. I'd eat alone, watch TV alone, go to bed alone. When he'd finally come home around 10 or 11, he'd shower immediately, said he felt gross from the office. I thought he was just stressed. Then one Thursday night in late September, I texted him around 8 p.m. Want me to save you dinner? Made your favorite. Usually he responded right away. We were those people, always connected, always checking in. But that night, nothing. I waited 1 hour, 2 hours. At 10:17 p.m., he finally responded, "Sorry, in back-to-back meetings, already grabbed something." I looked at his location on Find My iPhone. We'd always shared our locations. For safety, we said. But his location was off. That had never happened before. When he got home that night, I asked him about it. "Oh yeah, my phone was acting weird. I think the app glitched." He kissed my forehead, went to shower, and I let it go. 2 weeks later, something happened that I still can't explain away. It was a Friday afternoon. Linda had canceled our usual coffee date, said she wasn't feeling well. I decided to be a good friend. I made soup, homemade chicken noodle, her favorite, and drove it over to her house. It was about 2 p.m., middle of the day. Michael should have been at work, but when I pulled up to Linda's house, his car was in her driveway. I sat there staring at it. His silver Toyota Camry, the dent in the back bumper from when he'd backed into a pole last year. My heart started pounding. I called him. He answered on the fourth ring. "Hey babe, what's up?" His voice sounded normal, casual. "Where are you?" I asked. "At the office." "Why, everything okay?" I looked at his car sitting in Linda's driveway. "Yeah," I heard myself say. "Everything's fine. Just wanted to say hi." We hung up, and I sat there trying to make sense of it. Maybe Linda had called him for help with something, a repair, moving furniture. Maybe he'd stopped by on his lunch break to help her and didn't think to mention it. Maybe I was being paranoid and crazy. I put the soup on her front porch, texted her that I'd dropped it off, and drove home. I never asked Michael about it. I didn't want to be that wife, the suspicious, jealous, paranoid wife, so I said nothing. October came. The late nights continued. One Saturday morning, I was cleaning out Michael's car, just vacuuming it out, wiping down the dash, something I did every few weeks. I found a credit card statement wedged under the passenger seat. I almost threw it away without looking at it, but something made me open it. Charges I didn't recognize. Dinner at Marcello's, an Italian place downtown, $187. We'd never been there. Another charge, Bellevue Inn, $215. A hotel in our own town, flowers from Petal and Stem, $94. A jewelry store, $340, all from the last 2 months. My hands were shaking when I brought it inside. Michael was in the living room watching football. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "Found this in your car. What are these charges?" He barely looked up. "Client dinners. That hotel charge was for a conference room rental. The jewelry was a retirement gift for Patricia in accounting. It's all work stuff, babe." He said it so easily, so smoothly. "Oh," I said. "Okay." And I went back to cleaning, but that night I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing those charges in my head. $187 for dinner, $215 for a hotel room, $340 for jewelry, for Patricia in accounting, a woman I'd met exactly once at a company Christmas party 3 years ago. A week later, I logged into our joint savings account, just routine checking, making sure everything looked right. We should have had about $48,000 in there. We'd been saving for years, for retirement, for emergencies. The balance was $33,000. $15,000 was just gone. I checked the transaction history, multiple transfers out over the last 6 months, to an account I didn't recognize. When Michael got home that night, I was waiting for him. "Where's the $15,000 from our savings account?" He didn't even blink. "I moved it to a higher yield investment account. Better interest rate, I've been meaning to tell you." "Can I see the paperwork?" "Yeah, of course. It's at the office. I'll bring it home this weekend." He never did, and when I asked him about it the following week, he said he forgot and he'd get it soon. I should have pushed harder. I should have demanded answers, but I didn't, because pushing meant I didn't trust him. And I didn't want to be the kind of wife who didn't trust her husband. November 14th, a Tuesday, I made dinner, pot roast, Michael's favorite. Josh was home, finishing homework at the kitchen table. I texted Michael at 5:45, "Dinner's ready, when will you be home?" He responded 10 minutes later, "Working late again, so sorry, don't wait up." I sighed, set his plate aside. Josh looked up from his laptop. "Dad working late again?" "Yeah," I said, "again." And then Josh said something that changed everything. "Is he going to Linda's house again tonight?" I stopped moving, turned around slowly. "What did you just say?" Josh looked at me like he'd just realized he said something wrong. I've seen Dad's car at Linda's house a few times. I thought you knew." I put down the dish towel I was holding. "When?" I asked. "When did you see his car there?" "I don't know. A few times, like when I'm coming home from school or whatever. I just figured he was helping her with stuff. You guys are always helping her." My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "How many times, Josh?" He shrugged, uncomfortable now. "I don't know, Mom. Maybe 5 or 6 times over the last few months. And you didn't think to mention it to me?" "I thought you knew." He was defensive now. "Dad said you knew. He said he was helping her fix stuff around the house, and you'd asked him to check on her." I sat down. Michael had covered his tracks, with our own son. Josh was watching me carefully now. "Mom, did you not know?" I didn't answer right away. I was trying to process. "Mom?" "No," I finally said. "I didn't know." Josh's face changed. He looked sick. "Oh my God, is he?" He couldn't even say it. "I don't know," I said, "but I'm going to find out." I stood up, grabbed my keys. "Where are you going?" Josh asked. "To Linda's house." "Mom, wait. Stay here," I said. "I'll be back soon." But I didn't go to Linda's house. Not yet. Because if I confronted them without proof, they'd just deny it. They'd make me feel crazy. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I drove around for 20 minutes trying to calm down, trying to think clearly. Then I called my sister, Diane. I told her everything. The late nights, the credit card charges, the missing money, Josh's comment. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "You need to catch him tonight. Don't tell him you know. Just catch him." "How?" "Tell him you're going out. Book club, girls' night, whatever. Then stake out Linda's house. If he's there, you'll know." It felt insane, like something from a movie. But I did it anyway. I went home. Told Josh everything was fine. Told him I'd overreacted. Then I texted Michael. "Going to book club tonight. Don't wait up." He responded immediately, "I'm okay, babe. Have fun." And then I waited. At 6:30 p.m., I parked 2 streets over from Linda's house and waited. I didn't have to wait long. I'd never done anything like this in my life. I sat in my car 2 streets over, engine off, lights off, feeling like I was losing my mind. What if I was wrong? What if this was all some horrible misunderstanding? What if I was about to blow up my marriage over paranoia? But then I thought about the credit card charges, the missing money, the lies, and I stayed. At 6:47 p.m., I saw headlights turn onto Linda's street, Michael's car. My breath caught in my throat. He didn't park on the street like someone just stopping by to help with a repair. He pulled directly into her driveway, then into her garage. The garage door closed behind him, like he'd done it 100 times before. Like he belonged there. I sat there staring at that closed garage door, and I felt something inside me break. It's a strange feeling, heartbreak. People talk about it like it's metaphorical. But in that moment, it felt physical. Like something in my chest actually cracked open. I wanted to storm over there, bang on the door, scream, but I didn't. I waited. I needed to see more, to be absolutely sure. An hour passed, then 2. Lights were on in her living room. I could see shadows moving past the windows. At one point, I saw them both clearly in the kitchen. Linda was laughing. Michael had his hand on her lower back, casual, familiar, intimate, like a couple. I thought I was going to throw up. I took out my phone and started taking pictures, video, evidence. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone steady. At 9:15, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know. I had to see. I had to confront this. I walked up to Linda's front door and knocked, hard. It took a minute, but the door finally opened. Linda stood there in a bathrobe. Her hair was wet. She'd just showered. The look on her face when she saw me? I'll never forget it. Pure panic. "Susan, oh my God, what are you doing here?" I pushed past her, and there he was, my husband, sitting on her couch in sweatpants and a t-shirt I'd bought him last Christmas, a glass of wine in his hand. The TV was on, some movie. They'd been watching a movie together. He stood up fast, knocking the wine over. "Honey, this isn't what it looks like." I started laughing. I actually laughed, because that's what people say in movies, in cliches. But here was my husband in my best friend's house saying those exact words to me. Linda started crying immediately. "Susan, please, let us explain." Us. That word hit me like a slap. Us. Like they were a unit, a couple, a team, and I was the outsider. I turned around and walked toward the door. Michael followed me, trying to grab my arm. "Please, just listen. It's not what you think. We need to talk about this." I yanked my arm away. "Don't touch me," I said, and I left. I got in my car, and I drove. I drove for hours that night. I don't even remember where I went. But what I didn't know then, what I wouldn't discover until the next morning, was that the affair was only half of the betrayal. The money, that was the part that almost destroyed me. I ended up at a Hampton Inn off the highway, checked in around midnight, paid cash, didn't want Michael tracking my credit card. I sat on that stiff hotel bed and stared at the wall. My phone was blowing up. 47 missed calls from Michael, 63 text messages, 12 calls from Linda. I read some of the texts. "Michael, please come home. We need to talk about this like adults." "Michael, you're overreacting. Just let me explain." "Michael, I love you. This was a mistake. Please." Linda, "Susan, I'm so sorry. Please let me explain. You have to understand, we never meant for this to happen." We never meant for this to happen, like it was an accident, like they'd tripped and fallen into bed together. I blocked both of their numbers, and then I did what I should have done months ago. I logged into our bank accounts. Our joint checking account looked normal. Bills, groceries, gas. The savings account. I already knew $15,000 was missing, but I pulled up our credit card statements, all of them, and I started going through them line by line. Charges going back 8 months, restaurants I'd never been to, hotels, jewelry stores. Then I found something that made my blood run cold. Furniture deliveries. I called the furniture store first thing in the morning, told them I was calling about a recent delivery and needed to confirm the address. The woman on the phone was cheerful. "Oh yes, 428 Maple Street. We delivered that beautiful living room set in August. Is there a problem?" 428 Maple Street, Linda's address. My husband had furnished her living room with our money I thought was going toward our retirement. "No problem," I said. "Thank you." I hung up and threw up in the hotel bathroom. I kept digging. I found a second credit card, one I didn't know existed. It was in both of our names, but I'd never seen a statement. $28,000 in debt, cash advances, transfers, more restaurant charges. Then I found something worse. Loan documents in Michael's email. I still had access to our shared iCloud. He'd taken out a home equity line of credit on our house, $60,000, without telling me. Our house, the house I'd raised my children in, the house I thought was paid off in 10 years, was now leveraged, and I had no idea where that money had gone. I called Diane. It was 6 a.m. her time, but she answered immediately. "Did you catch him?" I told her everything. The confrontation, the money, all of it. She was quiet for a long time. "Susan," she finally said, "you need a lawyer. Today." "I know. I'm serious. He's been stealing from you. He's put your house at risk. This isn't just an affair." "I know," I said again. My voice sounded hollow, empty. "What are you going to do?" I looked at myself in the hotel mirror. I looked 10 years older than I had yesterday. "I'm going to get my money back," I said, "and then I'm going to divorce him." I checked out of the hotel and drove home. Michael's car wasn't in the driveway. Good. Josh was in the kitchen making breakfast. He looked up when I came in. "Mom, are you okay? Where were you?" "I'm fine," I lied. "Is your dad here?" "No. He came home late last night, grabbed some stuff, and left. He said he's staying at a hotel." The irony wasn't lost on me. "Josh," I said carefully, "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." He nodded, looking nervous. "How long has Dad been telling you to keep secrets from me?" The look on my son's face told me everything I needed to know. This had been going on longer than I thought, and Michael had been using our own child to cover his tracks. Josh sat down at the kitchen table. He wouldn't look at me. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do." "Just tell me the truth," I said. "All of it." He took a deep breath. "Last spring, like April or May, I was coming home from baseball practice. I saw Dad's car at Linda's house." "Okay." I texted him and asked him what he was doing there, and he called me right away. He said he was helping Linda with some repairs and that you knew about it. I didn't know about it. "I know that now," Josh said, his voice cracking. "But he said you were sensitive about Linda because you guys were such good friends, and you'd be upset if you thought he was spending too much time over there helping her. So it was better to just not mention it." "He told you to lie to me." "He told me it wasn't lying. He said it was just not bringing up something that would upset you for no reason." I felt sick. Josh kept going. "After that, I saw his car there a lot, maybe once or twice a week, sometimes during the day, sometimes at night. And you never said anything." "I thought you knew, Mom. He kept saying you knew. He kept saying it was fine, that he was just being a good neighbor." "Did you ever see them together? Linda and Dad?" Josh hesitated. "Once, in July. I rode my bike past her house and they were in the backyard, sitting on her patio, drinking wine. In the middle of the day? It was like 4 or 5 p.m., I think. Dad said it was her birthday and he was keeping her company for a little bit before he came home for dinner. Every detail felt like another knife. What else, Josh? He gave me money sometimes, like $40 or $50, said it was for keeping Mom from worrying, for being mature and understanding. He paid you to keep secrets from me. Josh started crying. I didn't know, Mom. I swear I didn't know it was this. I thought I was helping. I thought I was being a good son. I walked over to Josh and hugged him. He was 18 years old, almost a man, but in that moment he felt like my little boy again. This is not your fault, I said firmly. Do you hear me? This is not your fault. I should have told you. Your father manipulated you. He lied to you. He used you. That's on him, not you. Josh pulled back, wiping his eyes. Are you guys getting divorced? Yes, I said. We are. I'm sorry, Mom. Don't be sorry. Your dad did this. Not you, not me, him. Josh nodded. What happens now? Now? I took a breath. Now I fight back. I called a lawyer that afternoon, Barbara Chen. She'd been recommended by my sister's friend who'd gone through a messy divorce. I made an appointment for the next morning. And then I did something I probably shouldn't have done. I drove to Linda's house. Because Michael wasn't the only one who owed me answers. Linda had been my best friend for 8 years. 8 years of coffee dates and secrets and tears. And I needed to know how much of it was real and how much of it was a lie. I walked to Linda's house at 2 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, 3 doors down, a walk I'd made 1,000 times. But this time, everything was different. I rang the doorbell and waited. She answered after a minute. She looked terrible. Eyes red, no makeup. We stood in her living room, the living room Michael had furnished with our money. I looked at the cream-colored couch, the matching chairs, the coffee table. Nice furniture, I said. Linda's face flushed. Susan, please. I know you're angry. Angry? I laughed. I'm not angry, Linda. I'm devastated. There's a difference. I never meant to hurt you. Then how did this happen? Explain it to me. Because I genuinely don't understand how my best friend ends up sleeping with my husband. She started crying. It just happened. We didn't plan it. We tried to stop. When did it start? She hesitated. When, Linda? Last year, around February. February. Almost a year. 12 months of lying to my face. Linda sat down on her expensive couch and put her face in her hands. I was so lonely, Susan. After my divorce, I was so alone. And Michael was kind. He listened to me. I listened to you, I was shouting now. I was there for you through everything. I know you were, and I loved you for that. But Michael, he saw me differently. He made me feel beautiful again. Wanted. So you destroyed my marriage because you needed an ego boost. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Linda? Explain it to me. She looked up at me with tears streaming down her face. I fell in love with him. I didn't mean to, but I did. Love. That word again, like it justified everything. Did he tell you he loved you? She nodded. When? A few months ago, in the summer. He said his marriage had been dead for years, that you two were just roommates, that he stayed for the kids. I felt like I'd been punched. I pulled out my phone and showed her the bank statements. Did you know Michael was stealing from our retirement account to buy you things? Her eyes widened. What? No. He said he had extra money from consulting work on the side. He lied. This is our money. Mine and his. Money we saved for 23 years. Susan, I swear I didn't know. This couch cost $4,000. That jewelry on your counter? Another $800. The bedroom set he ordered for you last month? $5,500. All billed to our joint credit card. Did you really think he had extra money from consulting? She looked genuinely shocked, or maybe she was just a good actress. I didn't ask where the money came from. I just thought he was being generous. Generous with my money. Linda stood up, defensive now. You don't understand what it's like to have nothing, Susan, to be abandoned, to struggle every single day. So you decided to take my husband, my money, my life? I didn't take anything you hadn't already lost. That sentence hung in the air between us. What does that mean? I asked quietly. It means Michael came to me. I didn't seduce him. I didn't trick him. He was unhappy. He wanted someone who appreciated him. You're pathetic, I said, and I meant it. You're so desperate for validation that you convinced yourself stealing another woman's husband was some kind of love story. I walked toward the door. I want every penny back, I said. My lawyer will be in touch. I don't have it, she said quietly. Then you better figure it out. I left, and as I walked back to my house, I saw curtains moving in windows up and down the street. The neighbors had heard everything. By the next day, the entire neighborhood knew. And that's when I discovered something I didn't expect. I wasn't as alone as I thought. Small-town suburbs are interesting places. Everyone minds everyone else's business, and secrets don't stay secret for long. By Friday morning, my phone was ringing off the hook. Some calls I answered, most I didn't. But the reactions were mixed. Margaret from across the street called to offer support. I always thought there was something off about Linda, she said. Too friendly, too eager. I should have warned you. Karen, 2 houses down, was less kind. Well, you know, these things don't happen in a vacuum. Maybe if you'd paid more attention to your husband. I hung up on her. Linda stopped leaving her house. I'd see her curtains twitch when I walked by, but she never came outside. Michael was staying at an extended stay hotel across town. He was still texting me, begging to talk. I ignored every message. My daughter Sarah called me Friday night. She'd heard from Josh. Mom, I'm coming home. You don't have to do that, honey. You have classes. I'm coming home. I'll be there tomorrow. She drove 6 hours and showed up Saturday morning with an overnight bag and a look of pure fury on her face. Where is he? She demanded. Your father. I don't want to call him that right now. She was so angry, so protective of me. We sat at the kitchen table and I told her everything, every detail. She cried. I cried. I can't believe he did this to you, she said. To us. I know. And Linda? I liked her. I trusted her. Me too, baby. Sarah looked at me with red eyes. What are you going to do? I'm filing for divorce, and I'm suing them both for the money. Monday morning, I met with Barbara Chen. I brought everything. Bank statements, credit card statements, screenshots of texts, photos from the night I caught them. Barbara looked through it all carefully. This is a strong case, she said, both for the divorce and the civil suit. Can I get the money back? Some of it, probably. It depends on what assets Linda has. Your husband will be responsible for his share in the divorce settlement. How long will this take? Months, maybe over a year. Divorce is slow, civil litigation is slower. I don't care how long it takes, I said. I want justice. Barbara looked at me with something like admiration. Then we'll get you justice. That week, something happened I didn't expect. A woman knocked on my door. I didn't recognize her. Hi, she said nervously. I'm Rachel Thompson. I live over on Birch Street. We've never officially met, but can I talk to you for a minute? I let her in. She sat down in my living room and took a deep breath. I heard what happened with Linda, and I think you should know. She did the same thing to me. My stomach dropped. What? 3 years ago, I lived on Oak Street. Linda moved into the neighborhood, befriended me, became close with my family, and then she had an affair with my husband. Oh my God, it ended our marriage. And when I looked into it afterward, I found out she'd borrowed money from him too. Over $20,000 that was never paid back. Did you sue her? No, I just wanted to move on, get away from her. So we sold the house and I moved across town. Why are you telling me this? Rachel looked at me seriously. Because you're fighting back. And I wanted you to know. You're not crazy. This is what she does. She's a predator. I felt validated and horrified at the same time. Is there anyone else? I think so. There was another family, the Mitchells. But they moved out of state and I lost touch. Rachel gave me her phone number and told me to call if I needed anything. After she left, I sat there thinking, Linda wasn't just a woman who'd made a mistake. She was a con artist, and I was going to prove it. Barbara suggested I hire a private investigator. If Linda has a pattern of this behavior, we can use it in court. It strengthens your case for fraud. I didn't hesitate. She referred me to a woman named Amy Martinez, former police detective, now private investigator. I met her at a coffee shop across town. I told her everything, the affair, the money, Rachel's story. I need to know who Linda really is, I said. I need to know if there are others. Amy nodded, taking notes. I'll need 2 weeks, maybe 3. I'll dig into her history, her finances, her past relationships. How much will this cost? She quoted me a price that made me wince, but I didn't care. Do it, I said. Those 3 weeks were the longest of my life. I moved forward with the divorce filing. Michael was served with papers at his hotel. He called me immediately, furious. You're really doing this? You're not even going to give me a chance to explain. Explain what, Michael? That you lied to me for over a year, that you stole from our retirement, that you manipulated our son. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to take out the trash. This was a choice. Hundreds of choices, every single day for a year. I love you, he said. No, you don't. And I don't love you anymore either. I hung up. It was the first time I'd said it out loud. I don't love you anymore. And I realized it was true. 3 weeks later, Amy called me. I have something. Can you meet me today? I drove to her office immediately. She handed me a folder. Linda Morrison isn't who she says she is. I opened the folder and started reading. Her real name is Linda Caldwell. She's been married and divorced 3 times. Not once, like she told you. 3 times. What? And each divorce followed the same pattern. She married well, spent lavishly, ran up debt, and then the husband discovered financial irregularities and filed for divorce. So she's been doing this for years. Decades. I found records going back to the late 90s. Amy pulled out more documents. The last divorce, the one she told you about, she wasn't the victim. Her ex-husband filed a police report accusing her of embezzlement from their jointly owned business. Was she charged? No, he dropped the charges as part of the divorce settlement. He just wanted her gone. What about the other men? Rachel mentioned someone named Mitchell. David Mitchell, married, had an affair with Linda in 2019. He gave her nearly $30,000 in loans before his wife found out. They divorced. The Mitchells moved to Arizona. Oh my God. There's one more. Paul Hendricks, 2016. Same pattern. Affair, money, divorce. He moved to Florida afterward. I stared at the papers in front of me. Linda had been running this scam for years, moving from neighborhood to neighborhood, targeting married men, extracting money. She's a con artist, I said. Yes, Amy agreed. She is. I left Amy's office with a folder full of evidence and a plan forming in my mind. Linda had destroyed multiple families, but this time, she wasn't going to get away with it, because this time, her victim was fighting back. Amy gave me contact information for David Mitchell and Paul Hendricks. I called David first. His wife answered. Hello? Hi, my name is Susan Thompson. I'm calling because this is going to sound strange, but I think we have someone in common. Linda Caldwell. There was a long silence. Who did you say you were? My name is Susan. Linda had an affair with my husband, and I believe she did the same thing to your family. Another pause. Hold on. Let me get my husband. David got on the phone. His voice was cautious. "What do you want?" "I want to stop her from doing this to anyone else. And I want my money back. I'm building a case against her, and I was hoping you'd be willing to share what happened to you." David was quiet for a moment. Then he started talking. "We lived in Riverside. Linda moved into our neighborhood in 2018. She became friends with my wife, then with me. She was going through a divorce, she said, struggling financially." "Let me guess. You tried to help." "Yeah. I gave her small amounts at first, $500 here, $1,000 there, then bigger amounts. She said she was starting a business and just needed a loan to get on her feet." "And your wife didn't know?" "Not at first. Linda convinced me that my wife would feel bad if she knew how much I was helping, said it would make her uncomfortable, so I kept it quiet." "When did the affair start?" 6 months after she moved in. I didn't plan it. She was very good at making me feel needed, important." "How much money did you give her in total?" $28,000. "That I can prove. Probably more that I paid in cash." "Did you ever get it back?" "No. When my wife found out, everything imploded. Linda moved away within a month. We got divorced. I lost my family." His voice broke. "I'm sorry," I said. "Why are you calling me?" "Because I'm suing her, and I want you to join me." Paul Hendricks had a similar story. Affair, money, lies. He'd given Linda $35,000. "She told me she had cancer," he said, "that she needed money for treatment. I believed her." "She didn't have cancer?" "No, it was all a lie. When my wife found out about the affair and the money, she divorced me. Linda disappeared a week later." "Will you testify?" I asked. "If it means she finally faces consequences?" "Absolutely." I now had 3 victims. 4 if you counted Rachel. 4 families destroyed by the same woman. Barbara was thrilled when I brought her the information. "This changes everything," she said. "We're not just talking about a civil suit anymore. With this pattern of fraud, we might be able to get the DA involved." "Criminal charges?" "It's possible. Fraud, theft by deception, embezzlement. I'll reach out to the prosecutor's office." For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than pain. I felt hope. But Linda wasn't going down without a fight, and what she did next almost derailed everything. 2 days after I contacted David and Paul, Linda went on the offensive. She posted on Facebook a long, emotional post about being persecuted by a bitter, jealous woman who can't accept that her marriage failed. She claimed I was harassing her, slandering her, turning the neighborhood against her. "All I did was fall in love," she wrote, "and now I'm being punished for it by someone who can't take responsibility for her own failed relationship." The post got shared. People I didn't even know were commenting. Some supported her, called her brave. Others saw through it. But the damage was done. Suddenly, I was the villain in some people's eyes, the bitter ex-wife on a revenge mission. Then the messages started. Anonymous emails, Facebook messages from fake accounts. "You're pathetic. Your husband left you because you let yourself go. Move on and stop harassing that poor woman." I knew it was Linda, or someone she'd convinced to do it for her. Barbara told me to document everything but not respond. "She's trying to provoke you. Don't take the bait." But it was hard. Every message felt like another wound. Then Michael showed up at the house. I was in the kitchen when I heard the front door open. He still had a key. I'd forgotten to change the locks. "Susan, we need to talk." "Get out," I said. "Please, just hear me out." I said get out or I'm calling the police. I ended it with Linda. That stopped me. What? I ended it. I told her it was over. I made a mistake. I want to fix this. I want to fix us. I stared at him. You think you can fix this? I know I can. If you just give me a chance. You stole from me, Michael. You lied to me for over a year. You used our son to cover your tracks. You destroyed our family. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Why did you end it with Linda? I asked. Did you suddenly grow a conscience? Or did you realize you're about to lose everything in the divorce? He didn't answer. Get out of my house and leave your key. A week later, Amy called me. Linda's trying to leave. What? She put her house on the market. Quiet listing. She's trying to sell fast and move. Can she do that? With the lawsuit pending? Not if we get an injunction. I'm calling Barbara right now. Barbara filed an emergency motion to freeze Linda's assets and prevent her from leaving the state. The judge granted it. Linda was stuck, and she was furious. That's when things got really ugly, because when Linda realized she couldn't run, she decided to fight, and her next move almost broke me. Linda filed a countersuit. She claimed that I owed her money. According to her filing, I had borrowed $15,000 from her over the years and never paid it back. It was complete fiction. But she had fake documentation, fake receipts, fake loan agreements with my forged signature. Barbara was livid. This is fraud, blatant fraud. But we'll have to fight it, which means more time and more money. I felt like I was drowning. The stress was tearing my family apart. Josh was struggling in school. His grades were dropping. He barely talked to anyone. Sarah had to go back to college, but she called me every day, worried. And then Michael's mother called me. Susan, I heard about the divorce. I just want you to know, I think you're being very unfair to Michael. Unfair? He made a mistake. Men make mistakes. But you're destroying him over this. It's vindictive. I hung up on her, but her words echoed in my head. Was I being vindictive? Was I taking this too far? I called Diane, sobbing. Am I doing the right thing? I asked her. Yes, she said firmly. You are. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. The legal bills were piling up. Barbara's retainer was $10,000. Amy's investigation cost another $5,000. I'd gone back to work, found a part-time marketing job, but it barely covered expenses. I had to dip into what was left of our savings, the savings Michael hadn't already stolen. One night, I sat at my kitchen table with bills spread out in front of me, and I just broke down. I cried harder than I'd cried through this entire ordeal, because I was exhausted. Exhausted from fighting, from being strong, from holding it together for my kids. I wanted to quit. I wanted to drop the lawsuit, finalize the divorce, and just move on. It would be easier, less painful. I could start over somewhere else. Leave all of this behind. I called Barbara the next morning. I'm thinking about dropping the civil suit against Linda. There was a pause. Can I ask why? Because I'm tired. Because this is destroying me. Because I just want it to be over. Barbara was quiet for a moment. I understand, and it's your choice. But I want you to know something. What? I spoke to the DA's office yesterday. They're interested in prosecuting Linda for fraud, but they need your cooperation. If you drop the suit, they'll likely drop the investigation. What are you saying? I'm saying if you stop now, Linda gets away with it. Again. And she'll do this to someone else. I closed my eyes. But if you keep going, Barbara continued, you might actually stop her. For good. I thought about Rachel, about David, about Paul, about all the families Linda had destroyed. And I thought about the next family, the next wife, the next husband. Okay, I said, I'll keep going. That decision changed everything. Because 2 weeks later, we got the break we'd been waiting for. Amy called me on a Wednesday afternoon. I found something. Can you come to my office right now? I dropped everything and drove over. She had her laptop open with bank records on the screen. I've been tracking Linda's financial history, and I found a pattern. What kind of pattern? Every time she moves to a new neighborhood, a new city, she opens a new bank account, uses a slightly different name. Linda Morrison, Linda Caldwell, Linda Burke. Okay. And in each account, there are large deposits that don't match any legitimate income source, deposits that line up exactly with the time frames of her relationships with married men. She's been doing this for years. Not years, Susan. Decades. I've traced it back to 1997. Amy showed me everything. Dozens of bank accounts, hundreds of thousands of dollars moving through them, deposits from different men, withdrawals right before she moved to a new location. She's not just a con artist, Amy said. She's a career criminal. This is how she's lived for 25 years. How has no one caught her before? Because the victims don't usually fight back. They're embarrassed. They're ashamed. They want to move on and forget it happened. Until now. Until now. Amy handed me a USB drive. This is everything. Every account, every transaction, every identity. Give this to Barbara and the DA. This is enough to prosecute. Barbara and I met with the district attorney's office the following week. I brought Amy's evidence. Barbara brought the testimonies from Rachel, David, and Paul. The prosecutor, a woman named Jennifer Hayes, looked through everything carefully. This is substantial, she said. Wire fraud, identity fraud, theft by deception. We can build a strong criminal case. How long will it take? I asked. Months, maybe a year. But Mrs. Thompson, I want you to understand something. If we move forward with this, it's going to get harder before it gets easier. Linda will fight. Her lawyer will fight. It's going to be a battle. I'm ready, I said, and I meant it. 3 weeks later, Linda was arrested. Fraud, theft, identity fraud. I wasn't there when it happened, but Margaret called me immediately. Susan, the police just took Linda away in handcuffs. I sat down, shaking. It was real. It was actually happening. Linda made bail the next day, but the damage was done. Her mugshot was in the local news. The story was spreading. Local woman arrested for decades-long fraud scheme. People who defended her went quiet. The Facebook post calling me bitter and jealous was deleted, and I finally felt like I could breathe. Michael called me that night. I saw the news about Linda. Yeah. I didn't know. About her past, about the other men. I swear I didn't know. Doesn't matter now, Michael. Do you think she ever actually cared about me? Or was I just another mark? For the first time, I felt sorry for him. I don't know, I said honestly. He was quiet. I'm sorry, Susan, for all of it. I know. Is there any chance? No, I said gently. There's no chance. We're done. But I hope you figure out your life. You too. We hung up, and I realized I didn't feel angry anymore. Just sad. Sad for what we'd lost, for what we'd never get back, but also ready to move forward. The trial was still months away, but for the first time since that November night, I felt like I was winning. Linda's trial was scheduled for March, but in February, her lawyer reached out to Jennifer Hayes with a plea deal. Jennifer called to discuss it with me. Linda's willing to plead guilty to fraud and theft charges in exchange for a reduced sentence, 3 years probation, restitution to all victims, and a permanent record. No jail time? Probably not, unless she violates probation. But she'll have to pay back every penny, Susan, and she'll be a convicted felon. How much can I get back? She's agreed to pay $67,000 to you specifically. It'll come in installments over the 3 years. Not all of it, but most of it. What do you think I should do? I asked. That's up to you. But if we go to trial, there's always risk. A jury might sympathize with her. This way, you're guaranteed restitution and she's guaranteed a conviction. I thought about it for a long time. I'll take the plea deal, I said, but I want to give a victim impact statement in court. Done. The plea hearing was on February 28th. I sat in the courtroom with Barbara beside me. Rachel, David, and Paul were there too. Linda sat at the defendant's table in a gray suit, looking small and scared. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up and walked to the podium. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. Your Honor, my name is Susan Thompson. Linda Caldwell destroyed my life. She befriended me, earned my trust, learned my vulnerabilities, and then she used all of that to seduce my husband and steal nearly $100,000 from my family. But this wasn't a crime of passion. It wasn't a mistake. It was calculated, planned, rehearsed, because she'd done it before, to multiple families, for decades. I lost my marriage, my best friend, my sense of safety, my financial security. But I gained something too. I gained the knowledge that I'm stronger than I ever knew, that I can fight back, that I can survive. And I hope that by standing here today, I'm stopping her from doing this to someone else. Thank you. I sat down. The judge looked at Linda. Do you have anything to say, Ms. Caldwell? Linda stood, crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was broken and I made terrible choices. I take full responsibility. The judge didn't look impressed. Ms. Caldwell, you've left a trail of broken families behind you for over 2 decades. I'm accepting this plea deal, but understand this. If you violate the terms of your probation in any way, you will serve jail time. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Court is adjourned. My divorce from Michael was finalized in April. I got the house. He had to liquidate his 401k to pay back the home equity loan and cover his portion of the debt. I got primary custody of Josh, though he was 18 and could choose where he lived. Michael got visitation and a mandate to pay spousal support for 5 years while I got back on my feet. It wasn't vindictive. It was fair. The day the divorce was final, I went home and sat in my living room, in my house, and I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I was free. Linda sold her house in May and moved out of state. Part of her probation required her to check in with a probation officer, so she couldn't just disappear. But she left our town, our neighborhood. I heard she moved to Nevada, somewhere she had no history. I hoped she'd changed, that maybe facing real consequences would make a difference. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. She was gone. That's all that mattered. The legal battles were over, but the real work, rebuilding my life, was just beginning. I'd been working part-time in marketing while the legal stuff was ongoing, but once it was over, I decided to go all in. I applied for a full-time position at a mid-sized firm downtown. They hired me. For the first time in over 20 years, I had my own career again, my own income, my own identity outside of being a wife and mother. It felt incredible. I'd forgotten what it felt like to be good at something, to be valued for my skills and experience. My boss, Carla, told me I was the best hire they'd made in years. I actually cried when she said that. Josh graduated high school in June. He decided to take a gap year before college. He needed time to process everything that had happened. We were closer than we'd ever been. He apologized constantly for not telling me about Michael's car at Linda's house earlier. A year after the divorce, my friend from work tried to set me up on a date. I said no at first. I wasn't ready. Didn't know if I'd ever be ready, but she was persistent. Just coffee. 1 hour. If it's awful, you never have to see him again. So I said yes. His name was Tom. He was 54, divorced, a teacher. We met at a coffee shop on a Saturday morning, and it was nice. Not fireworks, not a romance novel, just nice. We talked for 2 hours about our kids, our jobs, our lives. He didn't ask about my divorce, and I didn't ask about his. We just talked. At the end, he said, I'd like to see you again, if you're interested. I smiled. I think I'd like that. We've been seeing each other for 6 months now. It's slow, careful. Both of us are cautious, but it's good. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can trust again. People ask me if I've forgiven Michael. The answer is complicated. Have I forgiven Michael? I don't know. Some days, I think I have. I don't feel angry when I think about him anymore. Other days, I remember the lies, the manipulation, the way he used our son, and I feel that anger rise up again. But I think forgiveness is less about him and more about me. It's about not letting what he did control my life anymore. He's not my husband, he's not my friend, he's just The father of my children, and that's enough. We're polite when we see each other at family events. Civil. He's dating someone new. I hope he's different with her. I hope he learned something. But that's not my problem anymore. Josh, I told him one night, you were a kid. Your dad manipulated you. You are not responsible for any of this. I just wish I'd been braver. You were brave. You testified in court. You stood up for me when it mattered. He hugged me. I'm proud of you, Mom. Sarah came home for the summer. She'd made Dean's List both semesters. We spent a lot of time together, talking, healing. One night over wine, she said, Mom, I'm so glad you didn't just roll over and take it. You taught me to fight for myself. That meant everything to me. After everything that happened, I was cautious about making new friends. But Margaret, the neighbor across the street, became a real friend. Not like Linda, not performative or manipulative, just genuine. We had coffee once a week, talked about real things, supported each other. Rachel, the woman who'd been through the same thing with Linda, became a friend too. We understood each other in a way most people couldn't. And the other victims, David and Paul, we stayed in touch. We'd formed an unexpected support system, people who understood what it was like to be betrayed so deeply and fight your way back. As for Linda, I don't forgive her, and I don't think I ever will, because what she did wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern, a choice she made over and over for decades. And I'm okay with not forgiving her. Some things don't deserve forgiveness. If I could go back and talk to the woman I was 3 years ago, the woman who ignored the warning signs, who trusted too easily, who stayed silent to keep the peace, here's what I'd tell her. Trust your gut. Always. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore the red flags because you're afraid of being that wife or that friend. Your intuition is trying to protect you. Listen to it. Second, your financial security is your responsibility. I gave Michael control of our finances because it was easier, because I trusted him. Never again. Know where your money is. Know where it's going. Have your own accounts, your own safety net, because you never know when you might need it. Third, you are stronger than you think. When this started, I thought it would destroy me. I thought I'd never recover. But I did. I fought back. I rebuilt. I survived. And if it happened to me, I promise it can happen to you too. If you're watching this and you're going through something similar, if you've been betrayed by someone you trusted, if you've discovered lies, if your world has just fallen apart, I need you to hear this. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting, and you are not alone. What happened to you is not your fault. You didn't cause this, you didn't deserve this, and you have every right to be angry, hurt, devastated. But you also have the right to fight back, to demand answers, to seek justice, to protect yourself and your family. It's going to be hard, harder than you think. There will be days you want to give up. Days you want to just walk away and pretend none of this ever happened. But I promise you, on the other side of this, pain is a version of yourself you never knew existed. A stronger version, a wiser version, a version that knows her worth and won't settle for anything less. You can survive this. I did. And you will too. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was long. I know it was painful. But I hope it helps someone out there feel less alone. Michael lives about 30 minutes away now. He remarried last year. Someone he met on a dating app. I hope he's happy. I genuinely do. Not for his sake, for our kids' sake. Sarah and Josh see him occasionally. Holidays, birthdays. The relationship is still strained, especially with Sarah, but they're working on it. That's all I can ask for. Linda is in Nevada, as far as I know. She's still on probation, still making restitution payments. I get a check from her every month, $1,800. It's a reminder that I won, that I fought back and I won. I heard through the grapevine that she's working at a call center. I don't know if that's true. And honestly, I don't care. She's not my problem anymore. Josh is in college now, studying business. He's doing well, made friends, joined a fraternity. He calls me every Sunday. Sarah graduated last year and got a job teaching elementary school. She's engaged to a wonderful man named Alex. I'm going to be the mother of the bride next spring. Both of my kids are thriving, and that's all I ever wanted. As for me, I'm okay. More than okay, actually. I have a job I love, friends I trust, a relationship that's healthy and honest. I have my house, my independence, my peace. I'm not the same woman I was 3 years ago. That woman is gone, and I don't miss her. I've learned that betrayal doesn't just break you. It can also break you open. It can crack you apart and force you to rebuild yourself from the ground up. And when you do that rebuilding, you get to choose what the new version looks like. You get to choose what you'll accept and what you won't, what you'll tolerate and what you'll fight against, who you'll trust and who you'll keep at arm's length. That power, that choice, is the gift on the other side of betrayal. I wouldn't wish what I went through on anyone, but I also wouldn't trade who I've become because of it. This journey made me stronger, braver, more myself than I've ever been. And if my story can help even one person find the courage to stand up for themselves, to fight back, to demand better, then it was worth sharing. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? How did you find the strength to move forward? Or are you in the middle of it right now, trying to figure out what to do next? Tell me in the comments. This is a safe space. No judgment, just support and truth. We're all in this together, and sometimes just knowing you're not alone is enough to keep going. It's a story about boundaries, about standing up for yourself even when everyone tells you you're wrong, and about what happens when you finally say, enough is enough. You won't want to miss it. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe. Every week I share real stories about betrayal, survival, and coming out stronger on the other side. Stories that remind us we're not alone, that we're not crazy, that we have the right to fight for ourselves. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for caring. I'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves. You're stronger than you know.